Hey everybody, my name is Fallout, and today I'm giving you my list of 10 things I think that Destiny 3 really needs on day one of release. Before we get going, if you enjoy this video and think I deserve it, I'd appreciate you subbing to my channel. It's free, and it helps me out a bunch. Don't forget to click the little gray notification bell to be alerted about new content, and click the like button if you really dig the video, as it helps inform me on what type of content you're all interested in seeing moving forward. Okay, back to it. Top 10 things Destiny 3 needs on day one. Now, some of you are probably thinking, wow, you kidding me with this, Fallout? We're not even into the second year of Destiny 2 and you're already talking about D3. You're thinking way too far ahead here, buddy. I mean, am I though? Game sequels are often developed way in advance. Bungie & Co. isn't going to suddenly begin working on D3 for the first time after they're completely finished with Destiny 2. They're definitely working on it to some degree right now, even if that's only simply sketching out ideas for the main story. So I figure now might be the time to at the very least get the ball rolling with some ideas while we wait for the Forsaken DLC to drop this September. Keep in mind that I am not a game developer and have absolutely zero experience working in the gaming industry. This entire wish list is purely from the perspective of a dedicated gamer. Let's kick it off with number 10. Theater mode. If you're unfamiliar, this is a feature Bungie had added in their previous game series, Halo. Theater mode is a cinematic mode in-game where you can review recent games of PvP or even playthroughs of campaign mode. The game would automatically save well over a dozen of your recent playthroughs for you to not only view, but edit and tinker around with. You could move the camera around in third person, not only while paused, mind you, but in real time during the playback of the recorded game. This was such an awesome feature, and I can only imagine how amazing it would be if it was somehow added to the world of Destiny. Destiny as a virtual landscape is incredibly beautiful. It's a rich universe of cool backdrops, locations, and action. Being able to film whatever you wanted with ease would open the doors to a ton of new content possibilities, machinima, montages, and more. I don't know how easy it would be to add this entirely new feature to Destiny, but I do know that the results would be unarguably amazing. Number 9. Private lobbies. Currently, a Destiny tradition that I would very much like to see broken is that private lobbies, aka custom games, are not included in the main game upon launch. In both Destiny 1 and 2, private lobbies were not added until significantly after release. And while I'm happy that they were eventually added, it's such a shame that being able to mess around in PvP with just your friends isn't an experience Destiny players can have on day one. So far, anyway. Private lobbies can be a huge tool for helping players improve their PvP game. Guardians looking to mess around with skill tree options or different weapons can have the ability to do so at their own speed by messing around in a private lobby with friends or even alone before throwing themselves into the deep end of online matchmaking. I think it's pretty understood that the community very much wants private lobbies. The vocal majority has asked for them pretty repeatedly with both D1 and D2 until they were ultimately released, so why not include with the game's initial release? There may be a game developer answer to that question that I'm unaware of. In fact, I'm sure that there is, but still, it would be nice to have. Number 8. Finely tuned matchmaking. By that, I mean being able to go into separate playlists based on what game types you enjoy the most. Aside from the weekly rotating playlists and weekend-only Trials of the Nine, Destiny 2 has currently two main matchmaking options: quick play and competitive. Both playlists contain a mixture of different game types rather than just specializing in one specific game type. And while I respect the idea of wanting to keep PvP players on their toes and ready for any game type, I think I would much rather prefer a system where Guardians could go into specific playlists for what they enjoy playing the most. If you like Clash, you can go into the Clash only playlist. Control, go into the Control playlist. Are you a weirdo that likes Supremacy? Good news, you whack job, you can hop right into the Supremacy playlist and nobody's gonna stop you. Not only that, but I think it would be great to have ranked matchmaking for each one of those specific game types, meaning there could be a ranked Clash playlist, a ranked Control playlist, etc, etc. The current competitive playlist in D2 is just a mixture of either survival or countdown, which is kind of a bummer because it doesn't really really cater to the Guardians out there who both enjoy ranked gameplay but also like to just straight out slay like in Clash. The opposite statement, I'm sure, is also true to a degree. There are probably a lot of Guardians out there who would rather play unranked but also enjoy game types like survival or countdown. I'm sure that would probably be a lot of work to have both ranked and unranked training playlists for each game type, but I think that the player base might enjoy it a little bit more. And hey, this is my list, I may as well shoot for the stars. Number 7, a heavier PvP banhammer. I don't hear a ton of clamoring for this one. This is more for me and some of my more dedicated PvP friends on both YouTube and Twitch. We are entering into year 4 of Destiny's lifespan, and yet I continue to see my friends getting DDoSed online from Trials of the 9 almost every single weekend. Let me be very clear, I have no idea how Bungie would even be able to deduce that a player is cheating by means of a DDoS, but there has to be a way. I'm sure repeated patterns of seeing a specific player or fire team win by means of the enemy team suddenly dropping a player has got to be a massive red flag, right? I know there is currently a system in place with Bungie where you can report cheating, but I honestly have no idea how effective that system is. I'm still hearing reports of my Trials Sherpa buddies getting DDoSed pretty much weekly, so at the very least, I'm hoping that the system could somehow be improved. Number 6, a more customizable experience for console players. Specifically, the ability to choose exactly which buttons on your controller do what without having to pick from a preset button layout. Customization is so important, and so is being able to play exactly how you want in terms of input. So can we please have the ability to simply set our own button layouts? If I want to shoot my gun by mashing every single button on the front of my PlayStation controller, that should be my very crazy right to do. PC players don't have that problem, so I'm relatively positive this isn't something that can be easily done on console, but that doesn't mean it's still not an important thing that shouldn't be worked on. If possible, please make it happen. And while we're at it, can we also figure out a way to change the FOV on console too? PC players being able to change their field of view at will is such an incredibly underrated bonus for them. If you're a console player who has no idea what I'm talking about, trust me, you don't know what you're missing. Being able to see much more of your surroundings while in your roaming super, OP. Number 5, random weapon rolls. This idea might not fly with a lot of people, but I know exactly where I stand on it. Destiny 2 needs more weapon variety. This game is a looter shooter, and running out of loot to chase relatively quickly is bad news bears. I know, the system in place for Destiny 1 was not perfect by a long shot. A lot of players, myself included, were very frustrated that we had to grind almost eternally in order to get the weapon we were after, also with the exact weapon perk combination that we wanted. Obtaining the God Roll weapon was an awesome feeling, but the heavily RNG factored grind was not. In D2, we had the opposite problem. Weapon perks were completely carved in stone. If you got one better devils, there was basically zero reason to chase down any more. You permanently crossed it off your weapon list because each and every one of them is exactly the same. These are the two extreme ends of the spectrum, I believe. There has to be some kind of happy medium where there are random perks on weapons that provide a sense of uniqueness and variety, but without the extremely depressing grind and only a chance of 1 in like 100,000 that you'd actually get the exact roll that you were looking for. The good news is that random weapon rolls are currently returning to Destiny in the upcoming Forsaken DLC, so fairly soon we'll see exactly how Bungie plans on bringing that feature back into the world of Destiny. Again, in terms of Destiny 3 though, that is something I would love to see to some degree on day one. Number 4, bring back KD. In Destiny 2 PvP, we no longer have a KD ratio, aka a kill to death ratio at the end screen. Instead, we have efficiency, which ties the assistance factor into the kill death equation. I can hear some of you right now, wow Fallout, is that really on your list of priorities? Yeah, it is. I don't think keeping track of assists is a bad thing. It's a way of helping out the team, and it definitely should be tracked, but I don't like factoring it into the KD ratio. In fact, the entire post-game screen in PvP is way too strange for my liking. Take a look at this post-game screen for Clash. Instead of kills, we have opponents defeated, which as we know includes both kills and assists together in one category. We have streak, multi, damage, and efficiency. Why are we trying to reinvent the wheel here? Can we at the very least have kills, deaths, and assists all right up there on the endgame screen? Three very simple categories, all separate from one another. I know it may not seem like a big deal to some people, but flat out knowing your kills, your deaths, and your number of assists is huge in terms of helping players improve or keep track of stats that are important to them. Example, you see the endgame screen, you notice you have a lot of deaths, and you say, wow, I sure did die a lot that game. I should probably work on reducing that number next time. And yeah, I know you can technically figure out exactly how many times you died each match by going on to Destiny Tracker or something like that, but you shouldn't have to. Please give us simplified PvP stats right up front at the end of the game. Thank you. Number 3. Forge mode. This is another throwback to a classic Bungie franchise, Halo. Forge mode was an in-game map editor that allowed players to flex their creative muscles and literally design their very own multiplayer maps from the ground up. This was so unbelievably cool, and it did wonders for the Halo community. Not only could players simply play Team Slayer with their friends on their own maps, so many zany, wild creations emerged from nowhere. Players made art, racing maps, funny custom game types completely different from anything found in standard matchmaking. Alien Invasion, Mongoose, Sumo, Griffball, Quidditch, and even Duck Hunt. Giving players Forge mode was essentially opening Pandora's box, in a good way. I don't think even Bungie was prepared for the level of brilliance that some players poured into their own creations. Being able to share all these modes online with the community was icing on the cake. I can't even begin to imagine what possibilities would open up in the Destiny universe if Bungie decided to build some kind of Forge mode into the fabric of the core gameplay. It would be a win-win for everyone, because putting that level of power into the hands of the player means that the community can almost become self-sustaining in their quest for fun and unique content. It's a way to keep fans happy and busy while the Bungie Live team works on other updates and DLC and whatever. Number 2, 60 frames per second. I know, let the circle jerk begin. This is something that was heavily discussed at length for the release of Destiny 2, and D3 shouldn't be any different. I will once again remind everyone that I have zero game development experience and have absolutely no idea what the process of getting a game ramped up to 60 FPS actually entails. I think we can all agree it's probably not easy and also depends a lot on the hardware available at the time. In this case, both the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. It's entirely possible that by the time Destiny 3 hits shelves, we'll be on an entirely new generation of console, which would be nice, as I think it would probably make things that much easier for Bungie to get our beloved game franchise running at a higher frame rate. I know the difference is mostly cosmetic, but as someone who has the ability to run the game at well over 150 FPS on PC pretty consistently, wow, what a difference. Everything feels smoother, everything seems more beautiful. It's truly an eye-opening experience that I want every player to be able to have. I won't hit you with any of that PC Master Race bullshit because I do legitimately also enjoy playing on console, but I will be honest with you. When I go back to my PS4 after playing on PC for a good long while, my eyes begin to bleed. Here's hoping that whatever generation of console D3 comes out on will be able to take the game visually to a new level. Number 1. Crossplay and cross-save. This one is definitely a long shot, but what a game changer it would be. Currently, the Destiny community feels very separated between Xbox One, PS4, and PC. How great would it be if you could log on to your Xbone and do a raid with your friends on PlayStation? I'm aware this could potentially open up a lot of problems in terms of PvP. You know, the whole controller versus mouse and keyboard debate, which is constantly going on in the community. But still, I would like to see it happen in some capacity. If we can't agree on crossplay, can we at the very least agree on cross-save? That would be insane. Rather than having a separate account for each individual platform to play on, you could have just one permanent Destiny account that expanded across every playable platform. That doesn't mean you'd only have to pay for Destiny one time, mind you. You would still have to pay pay money for every time you bought the game on a brand new platform, but wouldn't it be incredible to be able to have all of your gear, all of your characters available on every single platform? Destiny is a game of both grinding for cool gear and playing with your friends. Those two things are the beating heart of the Destiny experience. Playing on more than one platform right now is borderline soul-crushing. As for me personally, I play on both PlayStation 4 and PC at the moment. I feel pretty bad that I have Xbox friends out there who I haven't played with in a long time. I very much want to play with them, but having to re-grind for absolutely everything under the Destiny gear umbrella is almost pure madness. Just the thought of having to re-grind 3 more classes from the very beginning all the way up to max level actually makes my brain begin to ache. I would imagine that doing something like this would actually be good for game sales, because if I knew I didn't have to re-grind and had all my gear available on any platform, I would gladly drop the money to be able to play my characters on any and all devices. I think it would truly be wonderful. I know that probably a lot has to happen in order for that dream to become a reality, but hey, a guy can dream, can't he? Anyway, that is my list. Agree? Disagree? Be sure to let me know down in the comment section and we can get into it. Again, please be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this content, and if you think I deserve it, please click the subscribe button to help my channel grow. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.